What if heaven is not just a place, but a kingdom with rank, order, and command? What if there are beings closer to the throne than others? What if there are commanders of armies, guardians of sacred space, rulers over regions, and burning creatures who never stop worshipping? The Bible doesn't describe chaos in heaven. It describes structure, authority, alignment. Tonight we uncover the hierarchy of heaven. When we think of heaven, we often think of peace. But Scripture reveals something far more profound. Heaven is not simply peaceful, it is ordered. It is structured, it is governed. From Genesis to Revelation, the Bible gives us glimpses, small openings into a realm that operates with precision beyond human systems. Heaven is not random light and clouds. It is a kingdom, and every kingdom has hierarchy. At the center of heaven is the throne. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, a throne. Revelation chapter 4 describes it in detail. A throne set in heaven, one seated upon it, radiant like jasper and carnelian. Lightning flashes from it, thunder rolls. A rainbow surrounds it. Before the throne is a sea of glass, like crystal. Around the throne are 24 elders seated on thrones of their own, wearing crowns of gold. Already we see structure. There is central authority. There are surrounding authorities. There are roles. There is order. The one seated upon the throne is God supreme, unmatched, sovereign. Everything in heaven radiates outward from this point. Authority does not originate from angels, it flows from the throne. Closest to this throne are beings unlike any other described in Scripture. The Seraphim. Isaiah chapter 6 records a vision that shook the prophet to his core. Isaiah sees the Lord high and lifted up. The train of his robe fills the temple. The foundations shake at the sound of voices. Above him stand the seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2, they cover their faces. With 2, they cover their feet. With 2, they fly, and they cry out without ceasing. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The word seraph means burning one. These are beings of flame. Their role is not warfare. It is not governance. It is not messaging. It is worship. They dwell in the immediate presence of God, yet even they cover their faces, even they shield themselves. This reveals something staggering. If burning beings must veil themselves in his presence, then the holiness at the center is beyond comprehension. The repetition of holy is unique in Scripture. Nowhere else is an attribute of God repeated 3 times like this. Not love, 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 not power, 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 but holy. This is the atmosphere of the throne room. Now, beneath and around the throne are the cherubim. Often misunderstood, cherubim are not small winged infants as Renaissance art suggests. They are powerful guardians of divine glory. In Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 10, the prophet describes 4 living creatures. Each has 4 faces: a man, a lion, an ox, an eagle. Each has 4 wings. Their legs gleam like burnished bronze. They move in perfect synchronization, never turning as they go. Beside them are wheels, intersecting wheels, covered entirely in ice. The eyes symbolize awareness. Nothing escapes divine oversight. The multiple faces represent dimensions of creation, humanity, wild animals, domesticated animals, and birds. These creatures are throne bearers. They move with the Spirit. They guard sacred space. In Genesis, cherubim guard Eden after humanity falls. In Exodus, cherubim are woven into the veil of the tabernacle. In the Holy of Holies, Golden cherubim sit above the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. Their role is clear. They protect the boundary between holiness and sin. Then we move further outward in heaven's structure. Paul writes of thrones, dominions, principalities, powers, and authorities. These terms appear throughout the New Testament, especially in Ephesians and Colossians. This is not poetic language. It reflects organized layers of spiritual authority. Principalities likely refer to high-ranking rulers over regions. In Daniel chapter 10, we see a glimpse of this structure. An angel is delayed 21 days because of the prince of Persia, a spiritual being opposing him. Michael comes to assist him. This reveals something critical. There are territorial assignments in the spiritual realm. There are ranks. There is opposition. There is organized structure even among fallen beings. Dominions and authorities suggest delegated oversight. These beings likely administer aspects of divine governance under God's command. Heaven is not disorderly. It is administratively aligned. Then there is the archangel. Michael is the only angel explicitly called an archangel in Scripture. The prefix arch comes from a Greek word meaning chief or ruler. Michael appears in Daniel as a protector of Israel. He appears in Jude disputing with Satan. He appears in Revelation leading heavenly armies into battle. Michael commands. He is a general in heaven's army. This suggests that among angels, there are military ranks. Heaven includes organized forces prepared for spiritual conflict. Then there is Gabriel. Gabriel is not called an archangel in Scripture, but he is clearly of high rank. He appears in Daniel with authority to interpret visions about the future. He appears in Luke announcing the births of John the Baptist and Jesus. Gabriel delivers messages that shift history. He functions as a herald of divine revelation. This indicates specialization within heaven's hierarchy. Some guard, some fight, some worship, some administer, some reveal. Each operates under divine assignment. Now, consider the angelic host. Throughout Scripture, we see references to the hosts of heaven. When Jesus is born, a multitude of the heavenly host appears to the shepherds, praising God. The word host implies army. This is a vast company of angels, organized, aligned, prepared. Yet even this massive host does not act independently. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus says he could call 12 legions of angels if he chose. A Roman legion contained thousands of soldiers. This statement suggests immense military capacity within heaven's hierarchy. Yet they remain restrained, because they operate under divine will. Now we must address the disruption within this hierarchy. Lucifer, described in poetic imagery in Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28. Lucifer was once radiant, adorned with precious stones, described as a guardian cherub. He was positioned near the throne. But pride entered his heart. He desired elevation. He sought to ascend above the Most High, and he fell. Revelation symbolically describes a dragon sweeping a third of the stars from heaven, interpreted by many as fallen angels. This reveals that heaven's hierarchy once included beings who chose rebellion. But here is what is crucial. Even rebellion does not dethrone the throne. Satan must request permission in Job. Demons tremble before Jesus. Fallen powers remain under ultimate authority. The hierarchy remains intact. God reigns. Now consider something extraordinary. 1 Corinthians 6:2-3 says that believers will judge angels. This suggests future transformation. Humanity redeemed through Christ will participate in divine administration. This does not elevate humanity above God, but it reveals that heaven's hierarchy includes redemption as a central theme. Angels observe salvation. Jesus says there is joy in heaven over one sinner who repents. They witness grace unfold. They see mercy extended. They watch God restore what was broken. The hierarchy of heaven is not based on ego. It is based on function and proximity to divine purpose. At the top is the throne. Closest are the Seraphim burning worshippers. Surrounding are the Cherubim guardians of glory. Beyond them are elders symbolic of redeemed authority. Then archangels commanders. Then messenger angels heralds of revelation. Then principalities and powers administrators of regions. Then the vast host executors of divine will. Every level aligned, every rank submitted, every being oriented toward the throne. The hierarchy of heaven reflects the character of God: order, holiness, authority, alignment, and perhaps the most humbling truth of all is this: the most powerful beings in existence bow. The commanders kneel, the guardians shield themselves, the burning ones cry holy, the hosts stand ready. Not one competes for the throne, because there is no rival. The hierarchy of heaven is not about power struggle, it is about glory. It is about perfect alignment around the one who reigns forever. And if heaven itself is structured in worship and submission, then perhaps that is the pattern. Not chaos, not self-exaltation, but alignment. The hierarchy of heaven is not meant to fascinate us with angels. It is meant to magnify the King. Because above every rank, above every throne, above every power, there is one eternal sovereign, and all of heaven moves at his command.